brothers and sisters, the Lord is with you.
And also with you.
We continue listening to God speak to us from the Gospel in the tradition of Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus took Peter and James and John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. He was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became whiter than any bleach on earth could make them. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with Jesus. Then Peter said in reply, "It is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was speaking, a great cloud cast a shadow over them, and then from the cloud there was a voice that said, "This is my beloved. In him I am well pleased." When the disciples heard this, they fell to the ground. They were petrified. Jesus came and touched them and said, "Get up, don't be afraid." When the disciples raised their eyes, they saw only Jesus before them. As they were coming down the mountainside, Jesus charged them, "Don't tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." This is the gospel, the good news of our salvation.
Praise you, Lord Jesus Christ.
By the words of the gospel, may our sins be blotted out.
Amen.
Indeed, it's good for us to be here. And as I was sitting there listening to Maurice do the readings, in the first reading, he mentioned of Abram, who we know becomes Abraham, and that he was 75 years old when he left to follow God's word. And the other day, there are 3 facilities that I'm a chaplain at. And there was one in Coral Springs, and it's a new one that I'm at, so I really don't know the people that well yet. And there's a couple in the back, very nicely dressed, very peaceful, you could just tell. You can tell when people are at peace or when they're agitated, and they were just perfection. So, what's your name and so on, and the woman said, "This is my husband." I said, "Oh," I said, "Wonderful." I said, "How long are you married?" 75 years. And believe me, the man looked like he might have been 50. So just that number, 75, registered with me. Anyway, as I said at the beginning, this is one of my favorite Bible passages. And the interesting thing is, when something is repeated, it means that it's important. Okay? Now, if we look at the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, this particular incident in the life of Jesus is in 3 of the 4 Gospels, which means it's important, right? Now think of this. In only 2 of the Gospels do we hear about the birth of Christ. Interesting. And this particular section that we call the Transfiguration is vital. It's vital for our understanding of who Jesus is. And you got to remember, when we talk about Jesus, we shouldn't say Jesus was. Because if we do, then we're saying what? That there was no resurrection. So we've got to be very careful in the manner in which we put our words together. Jesus is, not was. And Jesus gives you and me an example. We hear that he takes Peter and James and John, the first three of the four apostles that he called. And I like to call them the Three Musketeers. Always with Jesus. They were that, you might say, his intimate confidants, more than the other 12, the other 9. And he brings them with him because he wants them to take some time away. He wants them to come and rest. Now, you can imagine that they've been going through quite a bit. Jesus is baptized, then his fame begins to grow, and they need some time alone. How many of us take time alone every day to spend in the presence of God? Think about it. Now, I'm not talking about hours on end. I'm talking about 15 minutes. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm 1 foot in heaven. Maybe I am, but I don't want you to think that. But I don't begin my day unless I spend at least an hour quiet. This morning, didn't happen. It was a call from Broward General. And I felt the difference during the day. Because I didn't have that time, special time, with nobody interrupting. You gotta try it. You gotta spend time alone with Jesus. You've gotta be intimate with Jesus. You gotta have Jesus as your confidant, as your best friend. So as they're on the mountain to pray, and the mountain is very important in showing the commonality between the Hebrew scriptures and the Christian scriptures. Time and time again, when Jesus is preaching and the temple authorities are saying, "What are you doing? You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing." And he says, and you can go in the scriptures and look for these words, "I have come to fulfill the law and the prophets." He said this numerous times when he was questioned by the chief priests. What are you doing? Whose authority? And what do we see here today? Moses and Elijah. Moses, the lawgiver. Elijah, one of the prophets. So in Jesus, these two come together. Jesus comes to fulfill the law and the prophets. And then we've got these beautiful words that were sung, that we read. This is my beloved. Whether you want to use my beloved son, my chosen one, whatever. This is my beloved. On this one my favor rests. Listen to me. Is this the first time we hear these words in the scriptures? No. Jesus is baptized in the Jordan River by John the Baptist. And we hear This is my beloved. In this one I am well pleased. A repetition again, which means it's important. It is good for us to be. It is good that we take this time to come together as a family of faith, to express what we believe, and as we gather as a family of faith, to always thank God for what we have, not so much the things that we think we need. We have our faith. That's the greatest gift that God gives us. So to continue letting that faith grow, we have to spend time with God in prayer. We have to spend time with God in quietness. We have to spend time with God in love and peace. Pray for me as I pray for you. And may God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us and give us peace, now and always.
Amen.